Hello, everybody, and today for our usual birthday celebration of Sonic, we're not doing any games. We're just doing the Sonic 2 movie.
Yes.
But you can expect a game possibly in the near future. Who knows? We'll see how things go.
Regardless, though, it's Sonic's birthday. Good old June 23rd. So, let me preface our reason for picking this. Now, by the time that this comes out publicly, you probably are aware that Sonic has been on something of a pretty good streak lately, and to the point where the year 2022 is being considered a better year of Sonic than the actual year of Sonic was. But yeah, no joke. 2022 was a pretty great year for Sonic. We had Origins, which was finally helping to tie together the lore. The whole 2 worlds and 2 dimensions mandates were pretty much killed and left in a ditch. Thanks to
Thanks, Ian.
a lot of that, thanks to the most recent 3D Sonic game, Sonic Frontiers, which is actually pretty great. And most notably, Sonic made a really great contribution to helping break the video game movie curse with this movie, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. And I really do mean it. Like, okay, we've already talked about how the first movie actually turned out to be, again, much better than anyone expected. But a lot of it did also tie into the fact that, hey, the studio listened to the pretty much unanimous hatred of an ugly old model. It had a relatively good movie on top of that. But what more could a sequel do? Well, lucky for us, Jeff Fowler and his team had just the answers with this sequel, which goes above and beyond, quite honestly, and allowed for more steps and risks to be taken with video game adapted movies. Video game movies are becoming something that companies can, actually have more faith in, while also being more faithful to the source material. Granted, it was always confusing from the get-go why studios thought drastically changing stuff up would somehow translate to uber success, but I'm glad that they seem to be getting the message. But that brings us back to this movie. So yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 had quite a lot of hype building up to it. Not only do we have Jim Carrey returning, but now added to the fold was Idris Elba as Knuckles, and returning from the games, Colleen O'Shaughnessy as Tails.
Shaughnessy.
So yeah, again, all the more reason to get excited, and what was promised to us would be an expansion to the lore, while also adding on stuff, and allowing us to traverse to... Again, chances are you've seen this movie, so you know... But in case you haven't and this is your first time, let's just say, dear viewer, you'll see exactly what the apparent endgame for this continuity is. And oh boy, does it look glorious. But for now, let us start at the custom Paramount's logo, which literally drops in with rings, as you'll see.
Huh.
Now then, is everybody ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then let us begin in 3, 2, 1, click.
For disclosure, while I do know parts of the movie, like the post-credit scene or a general plotline idea, even not in detail, this is my first time watching this.
Cool.
Oh, look at that. Rings.
And
That is because
just like
stars
the
are the
last
thing.
movie.
Mario. You just know that if Paramount made a Mario movie, those would be the in-game stars.
The Power Stars, yeah.
Also, at the time of this recording, it has been announced that they are apparently also making a Comic Zone movie and a Space Channel
also, apparently.
and a Space Channel 5 movie.
Also, I think Streets of Rage.
Original film.
Yeah, I think we made the joke already.
Wait. Original film, but this film is adapted from a video game. It's not an original
That's
film.
not the title of the movie.
So we start on the Mushroom Planet, where you may recall our dear doctor was left stranded.
Yep. Okay, logic and Tom and Jerry cartoons. Don't fail me
Oh, it's a
now.
mushroom Rube Goldberg machine. Okay.
Yes.
This is the worst planet in the world.
Not a fan of mushrooms?
No.
Ah, well apparently
Shuri, I'd
you.
rather.
Well apparently.
Shuri, I'd rather live here than the coffee planet.
Well apparently, sure, you kick it off with the movie version of
Also,
Mario.
that
Then.
was literally one of the spores from Alien Covenant. Oh. Enjoy the Totino's pizza roll, Sonic.
Quish.
Yes, you can tell Dr. Eggman has become a little obsessed.
That's some great PG-13 violence.
And I'm not sure that's really good to drink, but I guess he really doesn't have any choices.
At this point, he's just Cocoa for Cocoa Pops too.
Oh no.
But at
Oh,
least
yeah,
he's
Agent
still got
Stone.
Agent Stone to keep him company. Mushroom coffee.
Terrible.
Oh, me and Dribs both hate this place.
Oh, God.
Experimentation.
Scientific sounding.
Crazy sounding.
No, don't you see, Shuri? You just have to be intelligent enough to understand it. Then it doesn't sound crazy.
What's that line in the first movie, Jova? The one man's insanity is what?
I'm not sure there was a line about insanity. I know there was the one about confidence.
That's
See who comes knocking, huh?
What's the line? What's the line again?
Confidence, a fool substitute for intelligence.
Yeah, exactly.
And Eggman died.
Damn, that's early.
I know it's
Circle of lie.
Robotnik.
After eating so many mushrooms, he will become substance for them.
I know he's still called Robotnik in this universe.
Oh, hello.
Someone is there.
A stick.
The Chozos, wrong franchise.
Now, there was an in-between comic that does tether a little few details. It's not absolutely required viewing. It just answers, hey, how did certain characters come about here or there? And one of those does answer why these guys are here with their boss.
That's one thing. Like, if you even read that comic, you're not really gonna know who these guys are or what happens to them because the movie doesn't really focus on that.
Again, though, you don't really need to know him too much, though. And yes, he was planning for this day.
Yep.
Oh.
Sure.
That's an Ace Ventura 2 reference, by the way.
Oh no. Holy
Yeah.
fuck,
Oh,
Jose.
crap.
Alright, and here's Knuckles, played by Idris Elba. Basically, the movie Knuckles is basically returned to his characterization from Sonic 3.
But do you know the way?
Yeah.
There you go, and that's how Robotnik and Knuckles meet.
Again, like, a little comic explains why
Yeah.
Knuckles is with those guys, but it's not like in detail you absolutely have to know.
I would have liked at least some kind of throwaway line just to give a basic.
That was one old pug.
Now that dog is not well.
All right. Now, this film had one major handicap against it.
It did? What?
It was being filmed during the pandemic.
Yep.
Oh, God, that's right. It was being filmed during the pandemic.
So we had to wrap up quickly.
You
Sonic,
know-
you're not Batman.
You
What's
know,
up?
it's funny.
Oh my God, Sonic's a fan of SSX Tricky.
As you can tell,
Nice.
Sonic is now using his superpowers to protect the populace.
No, you got it wrong, Sonic. You had to chill out on the rooftop of your human inhabitor and complain about it all the time.
Of course. This is a very typical superhero plot point where whenever, especially when the superhero in question is a teenager, when he tries to fight crime for the first time, usually it can go a bit badly
Oh, right.
because of lack of experience.
You know, I know it's a bit topical because it's always being released as we're talking about it, but if a Flash movie does not have at least an opening scene where the Flash actually, disrupts a robbing bank like this, I'm calling this is a better Flash movie.
And yeah,
Same.
Tyson Hess returns for the newer character models.
Oh, yeah, again. Bringing in a lot of the team that helped salvage the original film.
Oh,
Well, shoot. Come on,
crap.
think positive.
Oh,
imagine the smell. Yeah.
lovely.
You always check under the seat.
Oh no.
Well, crap.
Oh shit.
He's got the superhero quips with him.
Yep.
He's trying.
Well, it could have gone worse.
And
Mission
the kid lost his ice
accomplished.
cream.
I love how the second ice cream scoop was. You could definitely tell.
Hey,
it was
look,
forcefully put
Sonic
down there.
Adventure reference.
Yep.
Surprised no one says, "Oh no, our weapons are useless."
Sure, you're not Batman. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, here's the new theme song for this movie, Stars in the Sky.
Mm-hmm.
So while Sonic isn't the most beloved outside of town, at Green Hills, he's kind of a town celebrity now.
Obviously.
I'm trying to
I
sleep.
was about to say.
Chewie, it's like 10 a.m.
You wouldn't know, Dweebs. Like, some people tend to be night owl and have to sleep in the morning.
It looks like it.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh. You
Oh,
just rest there,
just a few-
Benjamin.
Just a few Ben Franks there.
The last thing he has left of his dead mother.
Mm-hmm.
Owly.
Long
I don't
Claw.
know
Oh,
what
I
it is.
literally just mentioned her.
I think she was fine, but yeah, this movie does expand more on her.
Also, sorry if you've got a golden retriever, but you're getting up very early.
Yeah.
All right, this is an important scene because it sets the theme of the movie.
Yeah. And right over there, Sonic, is where I was killed by Jean Grey.
Oh my
So,
god.
Sonic, let's
that's
talk
right.
about your relationships with human women.
Yeah, that's right. I believe this is the same set where they filmed Cyclops' death scene in
Who knows, Sharon?
X-Men
Maybe
3.
the third movie will bring in Amy. Could you imagine him meeting Amy in this universe?
I'd like her to be in one of these movies.
I mean, I'll give him credit. He really did think ahead. He just probably
Sonic is a little less cursed than this.
By the way, Tom, if you're still there, please turn the tape over to side B.
no reason. Just
No.
That being said, yeah, this is actually an important conversation.
as we can see again, James Franco really seems to have a very special knack for interacting with.
James Marsden.
I think you mean James Marsden, Joe.
God, I must be more tired than I thought. James Marsden is doing what he does best: interacting
Yep.
with CGI critters.
I mean, this guy at this point is basically a master's in that. Yep.
So when is Tom gonna die?
He does not.
I was about to say,
Surprisingly.
Yeah, don't worry.
wow, Tom, that's great
I thought
advice. I sure hope you don't die like a lot of
Yeah, I thought you
superhero
were gonna
parents.
pull an Uncle Ben.
But yeah, okay, all joking aside, I know some people are a bit split on some of the human characters, but I do like the role they got for Tom and Maddie in this one. Like, yeah, one of the big worries people had was, okay, we're introducing more characters from the Sonic mythos. How are we going to balance those out with the original human characters? I'd say they overall... Between what they do for Tom, Maddie, and Agent Stone, obviously, while also doubling that over with the Sonic characters, I feel that they found a relatively good balance.
So yeah, basically for this movie, they're gonna have them go on vacation in Hawaii as an excuse to, for them to get out of the way so that we can focus more on Sonic Tales. And
The reason they're going to Hawaii is for Maddie's sister's wedding.
Yep.
That being said, I'll give him credit. Hey, when you have an anthropomorphic hedgehog of a son who, has instant travel, why not make use of it? Mm-hmm. Saves on airplane tickets, which are expensive, let me tell you.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
no,
required
trying to
go
afford
to Hawaii.
Trying to afford Japan's a bloody nightmare at the minute.
Come on, Sonic, give your dad a hug. Would you say one more last fist bump?
One more fist bump, yeah.
Yeah. Again, like I said, one thing
Yeah,
that
the
this
way
movie
out.
is great for is definitely working in those cool little references without feeling forced. One thing
What could possibly go wrong?
One thing I do find interesting is how the first Sonic movie was like one of the last movies to come out in theaters before, the pandemic hit, whereas the sequel was one of the first movies to hit it big after the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing is that, again, as of the time of this recording, it seems that with the third Sonic movie, Sonic will be having free terms of competing against superhero flicks, it would appear.
Also, that poor dog.
Specifically the ones not many people really care about.
I thought you were going to say technically anti-hero ones.
Oh, at least he pays for it. Yeah, just roll with it.
Listen, you work in retail. I'm so sorry.
Actually, I think he was a customer, Shiro. I don't think he was an employee.
Yeah.
Well, I work in retail.
I mean, she did well, but the thing that she didn't have any typical supermarket employee outfit.
Sonic got a copy of Foamstars early.
Yes. And meanwhile, let's zoom.
Oh yeah, there's like another person in this movie, huh?
You might remember this as the after credits scene from the first movie.
So yeah, this is what was going on when Tails showed up. Sonic was busy wrecking the house and partying. Now they touched up Tails' design a bit, which you can see by comparing this.
Now.
Mm-hmm. And yes, Tails is voiced by Colin, the actress who plays Tails in the games.
He looks so cute.
Also, I think this is Khalid's first theatrically released major film appearance since Digimon the movie.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this is
as a major role. I mean, there were like little ones like in Cars and stuff like that.
Additional voices, I
Like
guess.
I said,
Hey, look, Tail, the Mean Bean Cafe.
Where's the dog? Is the dog buried under the
Yeah,
floor?
where is the dog?
Oh shoot, FaceTime.
Yeah.
See, it's like it never happened.
Yeah, we power bumped on it, and like when guys do a power bump, that's like an oath.
I think I saw that act already.
Joke's on him. I'm still going to be the top name on the movie.
Oh, there's the dog.
There's the doggo. I don't know, Shiro, the doggo seems happy.
Yeah.
It's a golden retriever. Most of the time, they're always happy. Seriously, I saw this guy already somewhere. Maybe NCIS?
Shemar Moore. He's famous for being in Criminal Minds, SWAT.
Yeah, I saw Criminal Minds, so maybe it's there where I saw him.
Okay, so time for me to do what's apparently the hot take, but I actually don't mind the wedding scenes in this movie. Yeah.
No, neither do I.
Yeah, the movie was generally praised, but one of the things that a lot of people apparently took issue with were the wedding scenes, thinking that they focused too much on the human characters.
It's not... Okay, one thing I'll say about the wedding scenes, it's not my favourite B-plot in the world. I mean, there are a couple of issues that it has, I think. But to say it nearly kills the movie is a bit,
Yeah, I never
guess
got
I'll
that.
see the movie entirety before saying something about it. Oh.
Bridezilla.
mean, she never liked him.
All right, now this is this is one of the best parts of the movie for me.
Oh, here we go.
I mean, I think it was in the trailer.
Oh,
Sonic, no.
Oh, it's, let me guess, 7 days, Sonic.
Yeah.
No, General Zod's invading.
I could totally see Eggman pulling this just to screw with Sonic psychologically.
Also, we do know that a ghost cannot be involved because Knuckles is around.
Uwe. Get out
Yeah.
here,
This is a
guys.
video game adaptation after all.
Oh god. Can you imagine Uwe Ball doing a Sonic movie?
I don't even want to imagine what it would look like in that.
He would, I'm gonna say this, he would have looked worse than what Sonic was originally supposed to look like.
Hi.
Oh no, it's the cable guy! Addressing one of the criticisms people had from the first movie, this movie definitely makes it more personal between Sonic and Eggman as opposed to Eggman more taking it personally against Tom.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't count, but this time it actually does.
Because I will win. What was the name of that guy in MGS3 that had the lightning powers?
Volgin. Oh.
Yeah, so it's a Volgin, but there's another Volgin as well.
Good luck.
I love this line from Idris.
Oh, come on, you could have said, here's Knuckles.
Yeah, and this line from the... That's straight up 90s Jim Carrey right there.
Oh no, like, this movie in general is just Jim Carrey bringing back all his 90s energy in full force.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, funny. This line was used somewhere else in the trailers.
That's actually about to come up soon, but yeah. So yeah, the first on-screen film confrontation between iconic video game rivals Sonic and Knuckles. Because remember, before Shadow, Knuckles was pretty much the big bad evil counterpart to Sonic.
You know what's the fun thing? Like back when this movie came out, Sonic Frontiers, we had yet to know not a lot of stuff about Sonic Frontiers yet. And pretty much the consensus was, hey, Sega, this Knuckles in the games now.
And then they did kind of that with Frontiers.
He just doesn't sound like Idris Elba, but, you know.
So yeah, basically as an homage to the games, yes, Knuckles indeed stopped Sonic dead in his tracks.
Yeah, like at the beginning of Sonic 3, yeah.
And again, this is a big deal because up until this point, Sonic has been, not unbeatable, but relatively unstoppable. Going off of Adventure, a lot of people were enemies of the Echidna tribes.
Well, they kind of asked for that.
And then an evil monster called Ken Penders destroyed them all.
And yeah, there you go.
Oh, it's interesting you say that, Dwebs.
Tails literally introduces himself by running over Knuckles.
The police
in a cop car, no less.
It's interesting you say that, Dwebs. I'll have something to bring up when a certain flashback comes into play.
Alright.
God, he's crazy.
Again,
Jim
Shiroi, 90s Jim Carrey.
Yeah, basically.
90s Jim Carrey in
I really need to get around to showing
2022.
US Ventura 2 at some point, you're right.
So Tails hijacked a car, first day on Earth. Just...
Hey,
and you're like 8, child?
It's an
Would you
emergency,
prefer him
okay?
throwing bombs?
Heh.
So yeah, my guess is because Paramount literally couldn't find any famous person to voice Tails or something.
A lot of-
Holland, don't you know?
a lot
No,
of
no.
Of
Maybe
the
as
three
an older
characters-
Tails, but
Of the three characters, Tails is the one that is written and characterized exactly like in the game, so it makes sense to have Colleen. Like I said, I'm okay with Sonic and Knuckles having different voice actors because their characterization is very different than how it is in the games nowadays. So it makes sense to have a different voice actor. Because like I said, Roger's voice wouldn't really
Oh,
fit
snap.
with Sonic at all.
Tails is pretty much his game self, so they got Colleen back.
I literally just said that.
So anyway,
It was just to finish off the sentence.
Also, you say that, but in the games that were released at this point, remember we also played Frontiers, Tails' characterization was far different.
well,
That's what Frontiers is for too.
I know, but I'm just, saying that, I get your point, but it's not 100% foolproof.
like Tails was still the tech support, but again, we can go more into that when we eventually cover Forces. Like, okay, while people do treat it like an era, the whole Mr. characterization of Tails thing was kinda technically only 2 games, Lost World and Forces. It just felt like a while since those were the only 2 Sonic games we got in a while.
Yeah. Alright.
Wait a minute, this isn't game Tails. Why is it
How
too
did you
tired at
got here
this
so
point?
fast with that?
Is that a lawnmower or a quad bike?
Yes.
This Tails went to the gym, Dwebs.
Of course. And then not pay him.
Meanwhile, back at the Mean Bean Cafe, Agent Stone. Okay,
Has gotten into latte art.
He's our barrister.
okay. Now, again, you don't need to necessarily know this, but the
Oh,
yes, he
That is the gayest thing I have ever seen.
Shiroi, he is.
Hashtag relationship goals. Find someone who can paint your portrait in your coffee. Or cappuccino. in this
Only
case.
to see it destroyed.
Anyway, so the comic establishes that he got a job here and then slowly but surely eliminated all the other people who worked there, culminating with him essentially getting the original boss of his place arrested on false charges. Again, it's a cool little extra detail that you don't have to know. You can always just assume that, hey, he established a place here because it's a relatively small town. But yeah, he actually does make a great latte, as the first movie established, so they built off on that, and that's his
literally
cover.
made it a code name.
Yep. One thing I absolutely love is that Agent Stone got so popular in this movie that people actually would be alright if he got a game counterpart. Seeing as how he's kind of like a good
I mean, I cannot speak for the rest of Uri, obviously, but I guess I will take him way more than Orbot and Cubot, if you ask me.
Same.
There's something I want to say, but I'll have to wait till the end of the movie to actually say it.
That too, yeah. So yeah, Eggman prepared for his return, and look, Buzz Bombers. And a more game-accurate color scheme and outfit.
Even nano drones to trim.
No, to egg drones.
So, my theory is that with each game, Carrie becomes more... Sorry, with each movie, Carrie becomes more and more Eggman-esque, right down to his robots representing more of, the badniks from the games. Which I think is to show his deteriorating sense of mindset as well.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I do... Okay, so...
Yes, they are.
So essentially, Knuckles' characterization in this is that he's not the smartest tool in the shed, but he's not complete bone-dead dumb.
He's written more like Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy.
He's
His
very...
humor comes from the fact that he doesn't know anything about what people are talking about and acts confused.
Ooh, yeah, he is
Yeah,
pretty strong too.
Yeah,
No,
Doctor,
that's
that
Knuckles.
Doctor, that wasn't the greatest. Yeah.
Oh.
Just think about the revenge, Doctor. Think about the revenge. It'll all be worth it. And yes, he's even got the Eggmobile now.
Yeah, wait, just focus, man.
Help me, Sonic. You're my only hope.
But you're already dead. It would seem that they went with the cut where I did not survive.
Chunky.
Yeah.
Yeah, shush, man. This is important.
Also, shh. Do you want Sony to sue us?
You're being very insensitive. That's Sonic's dead mother.
Just open up your heart, and it will be all
It'll be
right.
right.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
That's
Even
the-
with
yeah,
holograms,
Jim.
we still do the cliche of protruding your arm and say, wait.
Yeah, Jim, out of context, it sounds like the lyric to a Bob Marley song. Open up your heart, and it's gonna be alright.
So yes, in typical Sonic game tradition, we have essentially a treasure hunt.
Seems like it.
So, essentially, what this movie is a combination of adapting the plots of Sonic 2 and Sonic 3 and Knuckles, essentially. Right down to the very awesome movie poster of this movie, which has elements from the Sonic 2 cover, while also taking elements from the Sonic 3 cover, with Knuckles
I do
peering from
ship
inside
it.
the 2. Don't blurt out and say you love him, it might make it weird.
Yeah, the first movie did pretty well in spite of being released right before the pandemic started.
Again, the two movies are incredibly timed in regards to the pandemic. This one thankfully came at a good time where movie theaters were thankfully back well enough after the pandemic. And again, the first movie literally came at the right time right before the world went to crap.
Yeah, they done that.
Pain is a good thing, Stone.
No pain, no gain.
Literally his password phrase.
Hey, that's the classic symbol.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, in the B plot,
Oh,
and Cyclops has been killed again.
well, at least it's not atomized.
But his pride is.
Did you just enter into the Revenge of the Nerds movie?
It's good to help Kes stay in shape.
And hey, if only during a pandemic, that hotel nearby, that could be a great place to form a bubble.
And hey, look, there's Jojo from the original film. Obviously aged up a bit.
Is it still the same actress?
I think so, but don't quote me on that. Let me check.
Let's just hope that's not one of the transport rings. I mean, you're married to James Marsden. He's got plenty of muscle.
Yes, it is the same actress from the first movie.
Alright. In the meantime, Sonic and Tails are lost in Siberia.
Yeah, maybe you need to find some place where it's not really, in the middle of a snowstorm.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
This went so well the last time.
I
Leave in
mean,
disguise.
I mean, hey, like Tom only trained
yeah.
Sonic.
Spasiba.
Oh, did they just enter into the ugly duckling? Like...
Oh.
Good knitting.
What?
I think they just hallucinated that one.
Haha.
But you've been watching him take bubble baths then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a bit of a take from...
I closed my eyes when you were in the bubble baths.
And I also had to stalk you to find you.
So yeah, this takes some cues from Sonic 2, whereas Tails started out as a fan of Sonic's.
Yeah. Again, Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, just ignore him.
You're going to meet Satan.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure the I forgot the bad guy from Shadow the Hedgehog will appreciate that.
Yeah, Black Doom.
Absolutely.
Yeah, how naughty.
She's expensive. No.
Yeah, Knuckles has a very strong sense of honor, and we'll see more about this later.
Yeah, that's I think the tongue of a beef.
I think that's beat, actual. Uh-oh. Also, it's nice how he's got sort of an allegory to the Miles Electric.
From colors.
Yeah, it's basically a smaller version that looks more like the PKE meter from Ghostbusters.
They're aliens, kill them.
Actually, yeah, that's kind
Yeah,
of
we
the
could
idea.
burn them.
Geez, almost like I've seen this movie before.
One's obviously a child, but we're gonna.
Well,
You're never too careful.
1, 2.
I'm more surprised they don't suggest to actually use their skin for a carpet.
Hold on. Bivonka?
they speak the mother language after all.
Hi.
Yeah, when I first saw this movie, I thought, damn, Seamus has shrunk.
I like how the
Yeah.
fire waited its turn for that dramatic effect.
Yeah.
Very
Get
considerate.
this-
Well, remember, what's one thing Sonic's well known for? Breakdancing.
Breakdancing, yep.
About breakdancing Eggman. No, don't do that.
I bet he does.
Yeah. Behold, Magic Mike reference to the kids' movie.
Grandma's
That
out
is
for blood.
Babushka.
Alright, pay close attention here.
Sonic actually did do a smash pose for a little blink and you'll miss a moment, but yeah, we're gonna get some more.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be alarmed. It is merely just an army. Hey, adventure pose!
Yay!
And then they get disqualified for using
This is
music,
basically
not allowed.
this is basically this movie's equivalent of "I've Got a Dream" from Tangled, where after a big number, they all become friends.
If only all disputes could be handled with a dance battle.
All right, now we get the payoff from that freak moment earlier.
Aww.
Yeah, that's his backstory in Sonic 2 in the Japanese manual too.
Wasn't it also, if I recall correctly, used in Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog?
It was used in Son. No, the one in that one was
No, that's a different
interesting.
thing, too. And it's implemented as an animated scene in Sonic Origins.
Remind me, Sheree.
It is in Sonic X though.
Remind me, Sheree. Didn't Sonic Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog establish that Sonic knew Tails as a baby or something?
Like he found Tails as a baby, he fell on his head and started annoying him until he so it's like, fine, come with me.
This has always been the basic story of Tails. That Sonic was the first person that didn't treat him like a freak. So
As usual, Tails is adorable.
all right.
Yes, it is so cute.
Aww.
Yeah, this bit got a nice reaction in the cinema I was in.
It was so nice of
not
them.
the babushka.
Oh no!
It was very bold of them to reference Sonic 06 that way, but okay.
Adventures in Ice Cap Zone.
Yep.
Yep.
We're just missing is a snowboard.
Well, the movie's not over yet, is it?
No, I think also it was shown in the trailers.
Yeah, true.
No, hold on. I was pretty sure that was just a clip going to Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
Was it? I don't know.
Owl House.
Yep.
Wow,
Both renovations here.
both Winter Soldier and the Owl House. This is just quite the spectacular crossover.
Or maybe they come from space, we don't really know.
Yeah, we keep changing every game, it feels like.
No. Actually,
to be fair, this is a different universe. It's not the game universe.
also, they've never really changed up the origin of the Chaos Elements because it was only with Frontiers that we learned about the true origin of them.
Yeah, watch over said. Technically, Frontiers was the first actual game to talk about the origin of the
Also, I'm
Emeralds.
guessing these semi-animation illustrations were done by Tyson.
I do not know. I know Tyson worked on the character designs, but I
Ah.
don't know if he worked on that.
Also, topical. Vin Diesel and The Rock being the worst of enemies.
And now the rocks come crawling back.
That being said, yeah, Tara brings up a good point. Just like in the first movie, Tyson was brought in to adapt the Sonic characters into CG models.
Well, we did mention before.
Hmm.
They're the zodiac symbols. Gemini, Cancer, Taurus, I think. No, Taurus is first. Prepare to dive.
And now
Wrong
we'll have to find
password.
and now Sonic will have to find the Gardens of Gahoo. Maybe that's the plot, Joe. Maybe that's the big reveal at the beginning of the third movie, Joe. But turns out this Long Claw's world is actually the world of the Gardens of Gahoo.
Oh,
Wasn't that for something?
wrong nation, Robotnik.
He's been drinking way too much mushroom coffee.
Yeah. Hey, it's funny because James Marsden was also Cyclops.
Also, Jim Carrey made up Monopoly Man joke in Ace Ventura 1.
Yep.
This really is a return to his 90s energy.
There it is.
Bit
Now-
improvised, but yeah.
It's a mixture of Sonic Adventure, Sonic 3, and Sonic Adventure 2, since, like in Adventure 2, he's using a piece of shrapnel as a snowboard.
Well, okay, yeah. Never mind. Alright, so, Jova, we can't use Brad Boxer's track because copyright shit. Maybe the Cool Edge theme from Sonic Unleashed?
Or,
I mean,
Or
yeah.
the very unfitting music that we had that one time.
Alaska being a pair of Alaska, that would be the closest place to where they are right
Th-
now.
there is
Well, there you go
also
then. Cool
there
Edge.
is also the Ice Cap theme used from Sonic
Adventure
Adventure.
Yeah, that one's good, but nowhere near as good as Brad Boxer's, in my opinion.
He really is a child.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I keep saying that Roger's voice wouldn't have fit this Sonic. Because Roger's voice fits a more older, more experienced Sonic much better.
Again,
Hey.
maybe Jason Griffith.
True, but...
Jason
I was
Griffith
never that
was
big of a fan
kind
of
of.
Jason Griffith to begin with.
I
honestly.
like Jason Griffith, but last I checked, he was kind of done with the role after quite some time. Oh, you smart Alec.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's just classic Sonic Knuckles teasing.
Yep. Well,
You shouldn't have
shoot.
said anything, you know.
Oh, look at that. Sonic lost his rings.
After
Again.
getting hit. No, wait, hold on. That's my
Hold on.
line.
Ken Penders alert.
Yes.
Oh, no.
I'll talk about it in a moment. Let's wait till this is over.
I'll fight him off.
Hey,
Yes.
a parallel.
Do I
It
detect?
looks-
Yeah, I was about to say that too. Do I detect a parallel?
That said, it's apparently
Nah,
implied that while the Echidna tribe did kill Longclaw, apparently she took down a few soldiers with her since... Yeah, that was
Yeah.
apparently the last time Knuckles saw his dad.
Yeah.
And
Knuckles.
just hearing about this was apparently enough to get Ken Penders pissed off without actually
Yeah.
seeing the movie.
Yeah.
Basically, that little scene caused Ken Penders to go on his trust about how he was going to sue Paramount for copyright infringement and shit, as usual.
Wow.
Keep in mind, he hadn't actually seen the movie either. Like, he had just heard that,
Hold on, I love this bit. Okay.
So now for the next third of the movie, Tails is out of the picture.
Well, he does come back for the climax, but yeah, for now he's gonna be unconscious for a bit. Yeah.
Oh, this bit.
Does anyone object to this marriage?
Hey, that's the tornado.
Cute.
Sort of.
Could you even get reception in the middle of this region?
Don't even worry about it.
Also, turn off your cell phone. It's a fucking wedding.
Well, it could be an emergency, Gio.
Or put the vibration if you have.
Yeah.
Fuck's sake.
Hey, the Green Hill Zone theme.
The bride already doesn't like you.
Also, that theme.
Ha!
I forgot about this part.
I mean, guys, wrong ring, because it's the one he wanted to propose.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I love the way he says that. It's being put on the bride's finger.
No. Nobody checked that?
Well, to be fair, they look exactly the same.
Not really. The one of Sonic has shown in that shot is bulging and doesn't have any craving into it.
If his body ends up washed up on a shore somewhere, you know why.
Oh boy. Okay, I'll give the movie credit. At least they give Rachel more of a reason to be kind of a jerk, seeing as how it is her wedding day.
I don't know, I get what the movie is going, but this feels a bit cringe to me.
Well, why not just say, sorry, I got the wrong ring, there was a mix-up, this is the one you wanted.
He actually did try and explain that, but Rachel wasn't having any of it. Don't worry, though, this'll immediately prove that he was telling the truth.
Ugh.
Snow in Hawaii.
He came to Hawaii to avoid this crap.
Alright, okay, now this bit coming up. I can see why some people might have had a problem with this bit. Tails, a brand new returning character, is knocked out for a whole third of the movie, and instead we get, this.
They're multiplying.
But hey, ready for a twist?
Mm-hmm.
Remember how Randall mentioned that his...
How dare you!
So remember how
I
Randall
do.
mentioned that his friends are a squad? Yeah, that was actually foreshadowing.
Yep.
Wow, seriously?
Yeah.
And by the way, too,
Oh, boy.
Catfish.
Praise me, praise me.
Praise be the Second Amendment. To her credit, she has every right to be pissed.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And by the way, too,
Oh no, the MCU is taking away the characters for the climax.
Okay, I know it's...
not the MCU, too. Just wait till you see who the old man turns out to be.
Well, you already mentioned he was the one at the Olive Garden.
True, but there's something more.
We're getting more Olive Garden promo.
Of course the US government knows already the existence of extraterrestrials. Of
There's
course.
kind of a reason for that, you'll come to see.
Yep.
Yep! Ladies and gentlemen, the
And
cinematic
Gun
debut
Commander
of
from
Gun.
Sonic Adventure from Shadow the Hedgehog.
But it
This
doesn't
is
have heterochromia.
But yes, this is actually supposed to be General Hightower, as it turns out.
You didn't knew that?
Well, no, Tio. The thing is, like, as far as they were concerned, Robotnik was taken care of. What they didn't know was that he was back.
Not to mention, too, even if that wasn't the case, let's face it, Gun being kind of incompetent at their job is on brand.
Yeah, I know. So this is actually perfect on-brand stuff for this.
I still have to wonder what the hell we were doing in Unleashed.
Oh yeah, well, okay. We did find out in a one of those Sonic Twitter takeovers that apparently, at least when it comes to forces, Eggman apparently destroyed them for the
I was
time
talking
being.
about Unleashed, so that came before.
Oh right. Okay, that may have been in one of Ian Flynn's Bumblecast videos, but I think it's established at some point that essentially Gun were doing their best to try and keep the peace across the world,
Yeah.
but they were too occupied to go after Eggman.
See, the problem with Unleashed is that it was the first post-06 game, so Sega was incredibly terrified of putting too much stuff in it.
Yeah.
Like, I will say this, like, it is recent, but I'm glad that we're back to a point where Sega and Sonic Team are okay
Yeah,
with
I
there
think
being...
that's a bomb. Is that a bomb?
Maybe. Maybe it's a bomb.
But yeah, no, I am glad.
apologize.
I am glad we are to a point where Sega and Sonic Team, well, more so Sega. Sonic Team, I think, did want to, but Sega was kind of mandating against that. Sega are finally letting Sonic Team reestablish the lore and continuity.
Okay, so give me just a moment so I can bring up something about Ken Penders in that scene. Like I was talking about, Ken Penders in his eternal wisdom, quote unquote, and I'm putting wisdom in huge quotations here, decided to supermount. And he actually had some arguments on Twitter about it. And there was someone trying to explain to him that his argument is stupid. And he says, if you think I'm worried about Paramount's lawyers, you're kidding yourself. They have to go before the same judge I do, and they have to submit to the discovery process as I do. But
Okay.
I know a lot more bodies are perfect.
I can explain this. Ken's gotten a big head ever since he got extremely lucky in his iconic court case that cost us a lot of characters from the Archieverse. However, let me just point something out. It's not like he won that case immediately well. It's more just so it was to a point where Sega were threw up their hands and said they didn't want to bother, as opposed to actually taking him to the cleaners. Also, he only got that far because Archie, the guys in charge of the comic, were kind of incompetent with handling their own copyright stuff. If it had been under a more competent company, he would have never have made that far. But he is convinced that he is somehow on top of all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
But here's the what?
I do like how they do have Randall legit regretting, and they actually do establish that he did come to love her. So, there's that redeeming thing. Hey, he finally
Ow.
came
So
back
much
down.
alcohol wasted in this.
I think that was more an ice sculpture. Or a glass
But
thing.
there were also a lot of champagne flutes.
Hey, your bride-to-be is kind of on a war-ripped path of revenge, my dude.
I mean, he did deceive her for however long.
So, by the way, this is a Sonic movie.
Heh.
I don't know, I like her.
Me too, yeah. Honest.
I kind of get it what they were saying. Like, it's kind of cute the idea of reintegrating the gun plot, but I think this is going on for a bit too long.
I'm relatively fine with it, but I guess I can understand why some people might be put off by it. Also, doesn't turn back for explosion.
She didn't waste the alcohol.
I didn't. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, that alcohol is going to good use, I see.
Classic.
Okay, now, time to explain yourself for your life.
I mean, law enforcement does that quite often, and it's a whole thing.
They're down, Mr. President!
He took a bullet for her. She's not wrong. Oh.
Oh shit.
Ooh. Yeah, exactly.
I see Tails. Yeah, okay, I see that they took inspiration from Tails' adventure to let us know that Tails was out for flipping blood when making some of these.
Oh, because someone disturbed his sleep.
Yes. Sure, right. Don't mess with Tails' nap, or you die.
Yep. Yep. Just get up, dude.
Embarrassing.
I'll give this movie credit for actually getting me to care about Rachel's subplot, because I'll admit, when I first saw the movie, I kind of groaned thinking Rachel was, gonna have more presence, so be more annoying, but no, I feel like they balanced her out relatively well. It helps that she doesn't let her hatred for Tom boil to the surface until the point where he does legit try to take the ring as far as she knows.
It's cute, but I really wish it could have been trimmed. This is being dilated a bit too long.
Hey, son.
Yeah, we could have just cut to this point.
So yes, they have found the location of the Master Emerald.
Indeed.
Deep within the ocean, too.
Yeah, I agree with Dibs. Can we get Tails back in the plot, please?
Well,
We're trying.
Yeah, Tails has gone for like a third of the
Use one of
movie.
a taser. Maybe that will jolt him up.
well, thankfully Maddie's a veterinarian, so she can do for him what she did for Sonic in the first movie.
Well, we're gonna get the conflict between Sonic, Tails, and Robotnik.
That
Sonic,
said-
Sonic, Knuckles, and Robotnik. Sorry.
What we are about to get is one of the more intense scenes of the film.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't what I was saying, Sonic.
He's upsetty. Just let him. Let him be.
There you go. This actually justifies him leaving Tails behind. He
Oh,
doesn't want.
timing.
Yeah, this actually justifies him leaving Tails behind because he doesn't want him to get hurt again because of him.
Unfortunately, Tails is still injured, so he can't keep up with Sonic at the moment.
That's a stupid shirt.
What the?
We're going somewhere with this scene, you'll see.
The police of Green Hills are on a tight budget.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they have much crime like around here.
Wait a minute, this place is an F- on the health inspection.
Damn, how much did you screw up?
You practically have to have them piss in the coffee.
Agent Stone, what are you doing?
Hey, look!
Was that,
I think.
was that a maid outfit back there?
Yes.
Agent Stone's obsession is starting to get disturbing.
Also, you may have noticed also they had a bit of Jim Carrey in a fat suit with the classic outfit from the
Yeah.
classic games.
Treasure.
This is why you're the call guy. You know that, right?
Ah. Also, yeah, you'll note he had to use the scooter because, remember, the police cop car that Tails was using was his. And
Don't
that
worry,
kind of
Sonic,
got
you're a
wrecked.
hedgehog, you can swear. Oh.
Oh, right.
So yeah, Sonic's got to make essentially the equivalent of a marathon run across water.
Yeah, I gotta go fast.
Keep in mind, while Sonic can go incredibly fast, if enough force is given against him, he can get fatigued by it, unfortunately. And seeing as how he is going up against the waves of Hawaii, yeah, easier said than done.
And Sonic
Sonic
dies.
died.
That's the end of the movie.
Oh my god. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Lost.
And then he wakes up and finds Big the cat.
Honestly, that would totally be in character for Big the Cat.
Yeah, wait, how did Big even get there?
Well, he always existed on the Hawaiian jungle.
Okay, the thing about Big Dwibs is, like, Big is that kind of character who can show up at any
Yeah.
moment and not know why.
Yeah, Big is the Pavel. Big is to the Sonic series what Pavel is to the Layton series. He's that guy who somehow is you find in a place that makes no sense for him to be there just for a joke.
Oh, hey, look!
It's like,
Oh, hey, look, aquatic base. Oh, wait, no, I mean, oh god, what's that level in Sonic 2? You know, the aquatic ruins.
Aquatic
level.
Ruins?
Aquatic Ruin.
Oh, was it just called Aquatic Ruins? I thought it had a
I
more.
think so.
Yeah, the water level in 2 is with Aquatic Ruin. Yeah.
Yeah, Aquatic Ruin.
Okay.
And here's another classic thing from taking fire from the wall. That's typical. Sonic. There you go.
Pretty much all these booby traps are references to obstacles in the classic games.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure there's some labyrinth stuff in here too.
Oh,
That's
yes!
for sure. We're literally, the labyrinth zone is the one that gets the best treatment, in a moment, as you're going to see in a moment.
Yeah. Again, you know, what I love about this is that Sonic went from being kind of a laughingstock at some point to now having the movie that really did open the floodgates for films, you know, being willing to actually reflect their game counterparts.
See, we're literally in labyrinth zone.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But
And
where's
look
all
at
the
this.
water?
Right there, the water that you slide down,
See,
just like.
see, the water
Hey.
slide, the labyrinth zone. See?
Thankfully, with his super speed, Sonic is pretty good with a lot of these obstacles. Basically, imagine if modern Sonic went for classic zones. Oh, wait.
That would break the game completely. There's a mod for Sonic Generations that I love to use, which replaces, like, switches classic Sonic and modern Sonic around, where you play modern Sonic in the classic levels and vice versa. And it's great because you can break the fuck out of the classic levels, and it's fun.
Mm-hmm. Such a good team they are.
Focus, Doctor.
And there it is.
The Master Emerald.
Thank God I don't have to guard it constantly in this universe.
They actually do have a special spin on that in the end. Single sexy tear. Ooh, burn to Limp Bizkit fans, I guess. Hey, that's a cool reference to how occasionally Sonic's off screen when he's going through
he cuts
tunnels.
through the floor, cheater.
Also, the way that his spikes were up, yeah, that was reminiscent of his spikes from that Sonic Extreme picture. Come on, don't you have any sense of sentimentality, Doctor? Alright. Now it's time for the big ultimate fight between Sonic and Knuckles.
Hey, you can't punch and kick Knuckles in Sonic 3.
Well, don't you see, Dweebs, we're taking inspiration from his moveset in Smash.
Well, actually, according to Moto Kishimoto, it's interesting you say that, Joe, because according to Moto Kishimoto, Sonic's moveset in Frontiers is inspired by the movies.
Which, yeah,
that's cool.
definitely shows, given how now he has the infinite blue lightning energy thing in Frontiers.
Yep. Yep.
Ooh! Great job, Sonic. I think you got him.
Not.
Then you will indeed pass away. Rah!
I'll admit, I did like Idris Elba's take on Knuckles. Although I'll say this,
Yes.
his saying that Knuckles won't be sexy, yeah, that was a goddamn lie.
Yeah.
God, I remember everyone's reaction when that first came out.
Idris Elba.
Ha.
At least he did do him the honor of looking.
Also, the Master Rivalry is smaller than I imagined.
This is definitely a good thing in the long run, but yeah. Okay, so, for all you fan artists there, a lifelong dream is about to come true.
Oh, yes.
Jim, we're filming.
No, that's exactly it. Just let him go, Teo. Just let him go. This is why we hired him.
Yeah.
Yeah. You think we were going to hire him and tell him to be quiet in a corner? No.
That's like just making a movie where you hire Eddie Murphy into a silent role. Wait.
Oh, yeah. Okay, here we go. Eggman actually gets his own super form.
Super egg. Yeah.
Chaos is power enriched by the
And
heart.
it's not breakdancing Eggman.
And since Eggman has an evil heart,
Yep, negative energy. May not be that easy.
And Knuckles died.
oh crap.
Hey, he got out an air bubble like in the games. Cute.
Those are supposed to be helpful.
Well, they're about to be. So hold on.
It's funny you mention that, actually, because the theme actually is in the movie. You have to listen very deeply
you
for
go.
it, though.
What?
See, they do help, Shiroi.
Yeah, we'll deal with this later.
Together.
There you go.
Nice. And yeah, of course, Knuckles can swim, like in the advanced games.
What even Adventure 2?
Problem is, Sonic cannot swim. So yeah.
Sonic, use your trick from Sonic Colors.
Ding ding.
Because my creator doesn't know how hedgehogs work.
Yeah.
Yeah, now look where he is.
Again, now if you listen very closely, you can hear the faintest bout of the drowning music during that.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Exactly.
Oh, you should see the video game series Knuckles. Almost all of Sonic's friends tried to kill him at some point. Even Amy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the tornado gets a bit of a different origin this time.
Out of this bay here.
It's called optimism. Rubbing it in much? So in this case...
It's okay, buddy. It's the trauma.
So Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles are actually part of a family in the movie's verse. I actually find that heartwarming, and yes, once again, he cracks the bones.
Also, you both need a shower because salt water is terrible on your skin.
And yeah, because we're Sonic heroes.
Well, that's the thing. We're about to become Sonic heroes. Just hold on.
It's,
Is that a butter knife?
I think so.
Yes. Maybe you could try that tactic from my country's
Oh
parody of
boy.
that.
Oh no! It's turning into an Xbox showcase!
Ah, get it away.
World premiere.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, Jim
Imbued with
Carrey.
phenomenal cosmic powers.
Jim Carrey becomes Jim Carrey squared.
Yep. Ha ha ha.
This is too weird for me.
It's Jim Carrey. You gotta be used to it.
Oh yeah, fun fact. In real life, after they wrapped production, Jim Carrey actually gave a lucky member of the crew a new car.
Nice.
Okay.
So, to Eggman's credit, despite him initially saying he doesn't care for Stone, we actually do see he does care for Stone. He legit came back for the guy when he didn't have to.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yep.
Done.
Gun.
Don't
Oh.
worry, guys. God's here to help make
Oh my-
the day worse.
Well, they seem to actually at least be going after the right guy for once. Hey, look, it's legit the helicopter
there's-
from
there's
Sonic
that
Adventure
thing
2.
It's the SA2 copter. Huh.
Yeah, there's SA2. Are you happy?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he tried.
Hey, look, he literally comes from the Mean Bean machine.
Yep. Yeah, it's actually Donut Lord.
Huh. Oh boy.
I love this so much.
Okay, I kid you
Well,
not.
Jinx
My
the fun
theater
thing,
actually cheered when this scene came about, given what he's about to make.
Same.
The tank is not feeling so good.
Nope.
And yes, this was the scene that got leaked, which showed him rising up into the air. But for what? Here is the context. Honestly, I do like this as a take of what a super form of Eggman would be like.
I'm just unfortunately reminded of the, fan-4-stick version of Doctor Doom, and not in a good way.
Please, let's not. This was a good movie.
Oh no.
Not the train.
Yes, even the train. Essentially, his super form gives him ultimate warping power and, of course, tech.
And there it is.
Now here we have it. Team Sonic, all together on screen. Again, negative and positive energy.
What are you going to do? Tie his tails together?
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Eggman has
This
made
is so freaking cool.
a big one.
There it is. This movie's version of the Death Egg robot.
And hey, Agent Stone gets to come along for the ride.
Yep.
And look at that. This is a very buff version of the Death Egg robot. Well, he's not wrong, to be fair.
Yeah.
Walk from Pantera, why?
Because Jim wills it to.
Why not?
Does he pick the music?
He did. I know he picked the music
Okay,
for the
For
first
being
film.
the Death Egg robot, he's a
Yeah,
bit
that's why I
too
was
agile.
asking.
Like, seriously, supposed to have his arms permanently stuck to his body.
Wait till it attacks and then,
Goodbye, Knuckles, I guess.
Cool.
And now, of course, Sonic 2 pose. No. If there's one thing I can give this movie, the marketing was on point with a lot of the posters.
Ah, this one here.
Yes, he actually did provide a manual in the place, apparently.
By the way,
Oh!
that bit where the tornado spins while Sonic grabs on for dear life, that's a reference to the spin attack from Sky Chase from Sonic 4 Episode 2.
Uh-huh. Sure.
Yeah, I'm afraid, Knuckles, even you can compete with the power of an emerald.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if it's the Master Emerald.
Hey, and again, this is a cool little reference to the end of Sonic 3 and Knuckles.
Oh!
Yep, the mustache also works as a weapon. Yes, it's a Sega Genesis
Yay.
manual.
yeah, you found the Mega Drive-esque manual.
Well, at least he actually cares about that. Also, a nice little reference how reversing the Death Egg Robo's missiles back at it. I can't do this alone.
There you go.
Because
Our
we're
moment.
Sonic Heroes.
Sonic Heroes.
Hell yeah.
I only made that joke.
Hey, Jova, I guess you can say Sonic's in the lead, giving us greater speed.
Tails keeps us flying high to stay above trouble.
And Knuckles by our side.
Makes this a
Makes
safer
things a
ride.
safer ride.
Pilot.
We'll save the world and teach that Eggman a lesson. Also,
Together.
of course, Knuckles suggests going for the groin.
Of course.
I swear,
Yeah.
my theater was just going wild with joy throughout this whole
Same.
climax.
My cinemas don't get wild.
Yeah, the kids in my theater were also having a blast, clearly.
Also, he sounds a bit like Mike Pollock at this point. It's cool.
Like, there's quite a few times where he tries to emulate Mike Pollock, so
Yeah,
it's nice.
You listen to Luther.
Again. Because if I recall correctly, they needed... that may have been a different guy, actually, from the first film. Actually, he'll make himself a robot daughter and a robot son.
Also, he already has a boyfriend.
Oh, a multiverse, you say? I like how they left the door open for a potential Sonic Rush adaptation by mentioning the multiverse.
Is that still? Have they kept that thing where Blaze is in a different dimension?
Yes. The Blaze we go with is essentially the Sonic of her universe. Deadly. Yeah, it's a little tough then. Oh god, he's getting a god complex.
Yeah.
Ha! Throwing it right back at him. So yes, like in Sonic 3 and Knuckles,
You punch him out.
that's another reference to the opening of Sonic 3, actually, where he punches Super Sonic enough to knock the Chaos Emeralds out of Sonic. And there goes the Master Emerald.
I'm sure it's fine.
But
However-
Sonic is totally dead.
However, he did foresee this just in case. So, when he was making the robot, he made sure to include auxiliary power, so it still remains even after he loses the Master Emerald. Which means we get to have a good old classic fight with Death Egg Robo still.
The Master Emerald shrunk.
Well, again, we already mentioned that it's smaller than the
in this
Master Emerald.
continuity.
Granted, to be fair, even in the games it occasionally changed size, and oh my god, that shot is epic of the Death Egg Robo.
Oh, yeah.
Like, believe it or not, Dwebs, in Adventure 2, it's actually somewhat akin to this size at some point. Despite initially starting off as large. Like, honestly, it's only just a matter of time until they mention, oh yeah, it actually can change size in the games. Sort of knows that would explain stuff. Whew, movie was about to become PG-13 there. Ooh.
It might still.
Well, at least we got the Master Emerald, so it's good.
But I don't know how to use it.
True. That is a problem. It's looking a little wrecked, though. Of course, it breaks.
But notice what.
Oh, what were
came out of it.
those?
Notice what
Yeah, something fell
came out
outside of it.
though.
Oh boy. Just to prevent them from escaping. Even in death. What are those things doing?
There we go.
Oh!
Well, that's it. Movie over.
No. Ding.
Oh no.
He seems so happy. Sure would be a shame if something were to rain on his parade. And now, the biggest cheer that came from the theater was this moment.
For me, the biggest cheer was probably the after credit scene, probably that I've heard.
Ladies and gentlemen, Supersonic.
Yep, and he's here to show how powerful he is. I wouldn't be surprised if Frontiers took some cues from the movie, from this movie
Yeah,
as
for-
well.
for this, yeah, probably.
And unlike in the games, I don't have to constantly pick up rings.
Let's just say Sonic is, plenty pissed.
Oh yes.
So he's the fleet away supersonic.
They actually do reference
Kinda.
that. Of course.
Don't you both sides this?
That is more than 8 times. Actually, that may have been 16. Boop.
Yes.
Yeah, Sonic just straight went for the kill there. With a Sonic 06 foot tap at that.
And yeah,
You know what? Good for them.
considering Jim Carrey is apparently retiring, who knows? Maybe they'll just assume that he died. They're just gonna say in the third movie that he died in this.
That is one thing people are wondering, if Carrey will come back for the third film.
Well, I'm pretty sure that
this bit.
the guy in the post-credit scene will
And yes,
can carry the movie by himself.
they referenced Fleetway by a year, suggesting that this makes Sonic no longer the Sonic
Yeah.
they know.
Because
There you
in
go.
Sonic,
Nice.
the comic UK, Supersonic's evil.
But of course, Sonic still being Sonic uses the ultimate powers of the universe to make chili
Get chili
dogs.
dogs. Oh, that's gonna hurt the eyes of Knuckles.
Chili dogs are actually really good.
Not for your eyes.
No,
However,
no, of course not for your eyeballs.
so of course, in typical Sonic tradition, the Chaos Emeralds, after their work is done, go off to places unknown. And yes,
But
Frontiers.
they didn't do anything. Okay, they did.
And yes, Frontiers also explains why they do this too.
Yep.
Because they got bored and left.
Yeah, but maybe you could have done growing up while you were super. I'm sure those emeralds.
Besides, he glows gold that brightly. No one will get any sleep.
True, yeah.
Ugh. Yeah.
And there we are.
There's some rubble in there, but it's fine.
So at the very least, we are still separating the Master Emerald and Chaos Emerald in some fashion.
Yep.
I was afraid we were going to do like what Phase 1 did to the MCU and combine different artifacts in order to be the Infinity Stones when they were not.
So here's what I like about this. Instead of having Knuckles be the sole Master Emerald Guardian, basically, the whole family agrees to share duties of guarding the Master Emerald. It also helps that it's a lot more easier to carry. Ah.
Because they're Sonic heroes.
Yes. And look, now Sonic actually properly has a family he can play baseball with. I'm so glad that arc from the first film.
Back to the first film, yeah.
Yes, the full name and everything.
Yeah, I think that's the only time we mention his full name.
Well, it's important to remember that his actual name is Miles Prower. The Tails part is just a nickname.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Knuckles is baseball.
I mean,
okay. Knuckles. The Pakistan Sonic McDonald's advert literally called it Knuckles Baseball.
Back in school, they told me in order to understand the best you can, something foreign to you. Imagine if an alien shows up on planet, you have to explain what is actually mathematics to them. I think that's the same concept.
I do like how Tails uses his tails for those moves.
Power bomb.
I think that's really
Knuckles is not supposed to.
Look at him go.
Yeah.
He's having fun, at least.
Children, that was our only ball. There will be no team this year.
God,
This is cute, by the way.
That's an obscure joke for the OG fans.
Oh, hey, Knuckles likes grapes, just like in
the Sonic 3 manual. Yeah.
Again, this movie is a treasure trove of video game
So
references.
when is Tails gonna eat mean candy instead?
Oh, a little bit. That's too adorable. I can't.
Yeah.
So, Tom and Maddie, you got 3 kids. One is literally the fastest thing alive. Oh, he finally called him Dad. Okay.
It's just baseball, Knuckles.
He'll get used to that.
Oh, that's right. We probably should take.
Oh yeah, like take that with. Why is it in the cooler?
It's a safe place to keep it, Shiroi.
All right. So, like in the first movie, we also have some sprite animation credits.
And I also think this is a Sonic 06 reference, almost.
Cool.
Do we know who does these?
This one, if I remember correctly, was done by a fan, but I forgot. But I don't know.
Mushroom Hill.
Yep.
It's the Mushroom Planet.
Oh, right.
Basically, they're recreating scenes from the movie with the indie game assets. Yeah.
It's cute.
It is.
Sonic of an afro.
Hello, Hedgehog. Did you miss me?
This is a DS game.
God, can you imagine if Genesis games had this level of graphics back in the day?
The Genesis would have blown up.
Hey, look!
Hey, that's Sonic Adventure.
Yeah. Co-producer Tyson Hess.
Hey.
And here's Labyrinth Zone again.
Labyrinth.
Also, he literally did the supersonic
The Sonic 2
pose.
pose. Yeah.
Yep, and here is Sonic as he goes to end
Oh.
Eggman.
Here's the
All right.
scene.
All right, here we go.
The theater went nuts.
Sure, no one could have survived. Right.
But one person did for sure. Stone. But there's something more.
What?
Oh, really?
$50 years, you say?
Ah, what a random amount of years.
Ah.
Oh.
God,
Da,
it looks so
da,
cool.
He
da.
does look cool.
And keep
Project
in mind,
Shadow.
it's the commander that said, my god, Project Shadow. Remember, Hightower's the one who knows about Project Shadow, so...
Well, again, if we're going through the same of the game, apparently it was there where Maria died, apparently.
So, ladies
Yeah.
and gentlemen, yes, confirmed for the third Sonic movie. The bad rival, Shadow the Hedgehog.
Indeed. All right.
And yes, my theater absolutely lost it when Shadow showed up.
Oh, same.
Yep. Same.
So, okay, there's
So,
been a
shall we
lot of
consider
speculation.
shorts?
Oh wait, was there
Yeah, we'll
another
do the
after
short
credit
next.
scene?
No, I don't
Associate
think so.
producers,
Okay.
Aaron Weber.
Okay. Before we get to the short, I do want to talk about some speculation for the third film while the credits are rolling here. So a lot of people have speculated about who's going to show up in the third film. Like, obviously Shadow, but since they seem to be hinting at an Adventure 2 reference, some people are wondering, are we going to potentially get Rouge? Or, God forbid, Amy as well.
No,
What?
my
Yeah.
speculation is we're going through the BVS and Godzilla versus Kong route, where yes, Shadow and Sonic have opposed, but Metal Sonic is the ultimate threat.
That
would be nice,
would
but-
be a neat combination of Adventure 2 and Sonic CD, especially since Jeff Fowler did say that they're not going to go for just, a one-to-one chronological way of how the games went. Instead, it seems like they're merging elements from various games. Like, again, this movie is mainly, again, Sonic 2 and Sonic 3 and Knuckles merged into one big movie, with some elements from the Adventure Trilogy. Also, yes, Sonic character supervisor Takashi Iizuka. In addition to the third movie, a Knuckles series is in production. It's apparently just recently finished live-action filming as
Yes.
well. What the cool thing that has recently been announced is that among the cast members is, I kid you not, Christopher Flipping Lloyd.
So I'm guessing he might play the role of Geralt.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are speculating, that Christopher Lloyd will be playing the role of Gerald Robotnik. Like, he looks perfect for the plot. And hey, yet another scientist he plays on the wrong end of bullets.
I don't remember Christopher Lloyd having to have a role where he had a pair of mustache of any kind.
We also have Carrie Elways from Princess Bride fame. So who will he play? I
Again, like, gotta give the Sonic film franchise credit. It's managed to net in some pretty big stars lately.
After the bad, Black Christmas 2018 version, anything could be better for him.
wonder. Sure. Also,
Very nice,
that begs the
indeed.
question though, Jova.
Yeah.
Who will play Shadow though?
Okay, the biggest one I've heard most people say, Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, I've also had a lot of people. I also have an alternative idea. If for whatever reason they can get Keanu, or if they have a different mind, I can see Christian Bale in the role.
Yeah, he could work. And hey, given how many Batman references we've had, well, let's
Like,
see.
Not
Jesus,
even Batman
yeah.
drove. Again, one day I really need to show you guys American Psycho.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about that film. Have not gone around to seeing
It's a
it
perfect
yet.
Christmas movie.
Oh, it's a Christmas film. Nice.
Well, tangentially, similar to Iron Man 3 as a scene that takes place in Christmas. But that's besides the point, and I think we have a short to see, actually.
Yeah.
Right,
Bit of
yes.
time. So, audience, if I recall correctly, there are no more post-credit scenes, so you
No,
can
I
skip
just
the rest
checked
of the
out.
credit instead. I guess in going to the blue extra features of a Blu-ray, I think,
Yes.
because this might be in that.
Yes.
Okay, there is a couple. There is one thing to bear in mind as well for this short. Ben Schwartz is still Sonic, but I'm guessing because of scheduling conflicts, Tails in this short is actually voiced by Alison Packard. Fred Tatasciore is voicing Knuckles,
Yeah, it must be.
and
It must be
and
scheduled.
Aaron Landon's also in it.
Yeah, like it must be scheduling difficulties because they got back Idris Elba for the Knuckles series, which some people were thinking they might not be able to, but no, Idris Elba seems to be committed to this role, and I applaud him for that.
Because you forgot, you're that woman voicing Tails here, Alison Packard, the English voice of Jibanyan.
Huh. It's all connected in a sense. But again, like I said, I appreciate Idris Elba's commitment to the Sonic franchise. Like, a lot of big actors will sometimes just do the movies, but scuff at doing stuff like the series. But nope, they got Idris back for that Knuckles series upcoming.
Well, Idris Elba's also a TV actor.
True, yeah, Luther.
Yeah.
Now then, shall we begin the short? Alright then, everyone ready?
Yes.
Yep, I'm
Yes.
ready.
3, 2, 1, click.
I've never seen this.
Me neither.
Me neither.
It's okay.
I will say this, that the CGI is good enough that you could mistake the background for live action.
Yeah, you can definitely tell that it's a lesser budget production
Yeah.
compared to the movie.
Bless Tadashori, he's trying to do his best Idris Elba impression.
And Alison Packard does at least a good Colleen impression.
Yeah.
Well, she already does this kind of voice for Jibanyan, so she has experience voicing, young boy type voices.
Jivanyan's voice isn't too different from Tails.
Not really. It's basically
No.
the same kind of archetype for voices.
Yeah. I do like how this...
Oh no, it's one of the Iron Maidens from Golden Ring, no!
That pulse sign.
Yeah. I could see the part of the premise of the Knuckles series being having to deal with some
The
leftover
remnants
remnants
of
of...
the drone, the drone of the
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
The Knuckles series is probably going to look somewhat like this.
Oh yeah, it'll probably look like this, but with live action stuff included.
But look, now we have a good product with a blue head character in a junkyard.
Goody.
And so they got his feet ripped off. Yeah, they annoy it to death.
Oh no, it's about to have a crisis.
Aww.
Aww.
How lovely.
No! Knuckles, no!
It's already dead.
Destructive criticism. I do wonder if the short is going to be canon to the overall series and movies. Like, they could probably easily have a throwaway line saying, oh yeah, Tails adopted one of the drones, essentially. That was cute.
Cute.
And there's no post-credit scene for this, I don't think.
No.
No.
I'll say
Alright.
yes, the writers were Pat Casey and Josh Miller.
I think they're the guys who wrote, the guys who wrote the movie.
Alright, so final thoughts?
See, this bit was entirely done by Marza.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, please.
So yeah, I'll give my final thoughts on both the short and the movie since they're both really linked.
Go on.
I think it's pretty solid. Like, for the most part, I think it's been improvements over the first movie. Like, you got a lot more Sonic stuff since he's more established. Tails gets a lot of nice things to do. Well, aside from that one film where he's not in the movie. And Knuckles. Yeah, I mean, Idris Elba's performance really helps because I've always been a bit iffy on Knuckles, regardless of his characterization. But Idris, I think, helps elevate it a bit.
Mm-hmm.
By having basically Knuckles be one of those warriors who is full of honor, but not so much brain power. Junkie XL's music is fine. I mean, it's nice to hear a little bit more of the game themes. Okay, I've got no real issue with video game movies doing mostly their own music because not every game piece is necessarily going to fit the scene because it was originally made for an entirely different context, and you have to be a real wizard at adapting music to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like Brian Tyler was in the Mario movie.
And apparently, as we know, he had to fight tooth and nail against Universal for that.
I think the effects are also a big improvement over the last movie because remember in the last movie they practically added the new Sonic effects in at the last minute, and so the rest of the effects had to try and match that model as opposed to what they were originally going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this time they had the designs nailed from the start, so it allowed them to help the effects blend together better. I will be a bit sad if this turns out to be the last time we see Jim Carrey, well, in movies, never mind just in the Sonic movies. But hey, if he's going out, at least he's going out somehow still managing to pull off the 90s version of himself, despite being 2022 and 60.
Going out with a literal bang, given how Supersonic did him.
Yeah, if he falls over and okay. To be fair, I do think that in terms of antagonists, I think Shadow can carry a movie perfectly fine on his own if they do it right. Depends on, but also it just really depends on who voices him as well.
What do you think of the theme of what it means to be a hero?
Okay, it's something that we've seen plenty of times before, but this one does it okay. I mean, it's not like it's not like it's done badly or anything. It's not like it says, "What's the true meaning of being a hero?" Saying "fuck everyone else."
So, what did you think of the big action scenes and the references to the games?
Yeah. Yeah, okay. This movie, I think, does a good job of having references to the games while also not being overly reliant on them. Because that's the downfall of a lot of films that have a lot of fan service in it. They rely too much on those, and the rest of the movie kind of falls to the wayside as a result.
Mm-hmm.
But thankfully, this one's it does a decent enough job of it. And the actual battles. Okay, my favorite one is the ending one. So yeah, really, that's about it. It's all perfectly. It's a pretty good film, and I wouldn't say this was the catalyst for it because I actually did enjoy a couple of video game movies that came out before this, like the 2018 Tomb Raider film, for example. But this does a good job carrying on the momentum they've been building up.
Uh-huh.
All right, that's it.
All right. Tio,
Tio?
since you're one of the newer ones.
Sure. It's fine. Well, I will say technically better than the first movie, but only marginally. I think they're mostly on the same level, and this one manages to get a bit better for a few reasons. As a story conception on its own, it's technically fine, more of a scavenging hunt. But I get the idea there had been trouble or either trouble or conflicting stuff during development, because the whole treasure hunt doesn't really have too much of a presence. And at the halfway point, the movie kind of stops for like 10 minutes or something in order to resolve the wedding subplot, and then immediately we get to the fact that the treasures combine immediately at the Y. I think I get the idea there was supposed to be a middle point, but maybe they had to cut it out and probably could not film because of a pandemic, maybe. Because it really feels like it's shorter than it feels to be. The designs for the characters are actually fine. Again, it feels a bit odd that the final, robot is supposed to be a reference to the Death Egg robot, considering it's not. It's actually more agile and doesn't have the same attacks. If anything, it reminds me a bit more of Metal Robotnik from the OVA. The Robotnik taking the Master Emerald and being infused by it, it's an interesting concept that it hasn't really been done before. So it's interesting to see it unfold. The auto-tune joke could have worked a bit better, but sure, I get what they were going for, and I think that's a good segue. Much like in the first movie, I don't think all of the jokes really land as they have to. Sure, fine for the most part or anything, but a couple overstay their welcome and others don't really feel necessary. It's hit and miss to me. When it comes to Sonic and Tails' friendship, it is fine for what is presented, but I think it needed a bit more build-up. It really feels like we just have one night at this Siberian, hot house, and then they're good to go, basically. It gets developed later on, but it feels like it needed a bit of a better pedestal to move through, which again, I think it's the recurring theme of the movie. The stuff on paper is there, but probably because of constraints between the pandemic and everything else, so could not be executed 100% flawlessly, like it probably they wanted. About the voice acting, when it comes to Idris Elba Knuckles, I wanted to wait for the entire movie before judging because I got this vibe already from the trailer, but I wanted to hear him for the rest of it. I actually like the characterization, it's perfectly fine. But I think the problem with Idris Elba's performance is that the voice sounds too deep for the character. It should be a bit of more of a middle tone, still deeper than Sonic and Tails, obviously, but not as deep as Idris is going for. The voice actor that my country uses, which also reprised the role for the movie, actually I do believe fits much better for the role. So, sorry, Idris, but I kind of prefer what my country did on that one. But again, as for the other human characters, yeah, I had to agree. Well, not necessarily breaking. I think the entire Hawaiian marriage subplot goes a bit longer than it needs to. It's cool that they actually find a way to integrate it with the A plot, with the reveal of Gun as well. But no, it goes on for way too long. Some of the jokes really do not land as they need to, and we have even that tangent of the bride having to reconquer the love of her life while having a discussion with the gun commander that really could have been cut, and we would not suffer from it. Besides, the movie is already 2 hours long. If we cut off those 10 minutes, nobody would have really noticed the difference. To be honest, it feels to me like this is what it feels to me when the movie reviewers complained about Godzilla, King of the Monsters, about the human characters, because in those movies, nowhere near as in this.
Oh, it's funny you mentioned that, actually, because this movie did unfortunately get its fair share of criticism from critics on it daring to take more cues from the source material, like with Godzilla King of Monsters.
Well, remember, Joe, but that's why they also hated the Mario movie. So
because people can't understand these so obscure references that totally wreck the
connected
film.
to the question that you asked at the beginning, Jova, I think it all connects to the whole overall narrative that the world just passively accepted, and I don't understand why. The idea that something in movie format that's taking place from a different media, like a video game or a comic, cannot work out for a movie. And I'm asking, who said that? Like, who invented this rule to begin with? Because we keep taking it for granted, but time and time again, it's proven wrong. And when it's proven right, it's mostly because instead of incompetence from the people who made the product of the movie.
I think a lot of this goes back as far as when, the Academy Awards were against animated films even daring to be nominated, let alone win an award, because they thought it would be too silly and so uncivilized.
So
I feel
in
like
other news, Hollywood is made by a bunch of pompous dicks that thinks their shit don't stink. So
I guess to give them credit, they seem to be moving away from that, but critics still seem to be stuck in that mindset. And mind you, just because they're moving away doesn't mean they're out of it yet. So
for that, I have to quote a line from the second series of Leo the Lion, aka Kimba. You didn't try hard enough. But anyway, when it comes to this movie, it's enjoyable, definitely. But I wouldn't call it, the only reason why it's better than the first movie is because it's more faithful to the source material, especially for the climax. But it's not quite there. It needs still improvement, and I hope that the third movie, now that hopefully Paramount grants a bigger budget, and they have a more relaxing kind of time, and they're not constrained by a pandemic. Hopefully, they should be managed to, work the kinks out. So yeah, that's it. As far as when it comes to the Knuckles series, I guess I will eventually watch it. I'm in no real rush to watch it right now, but sure, we'll see what happens. Next.
Sure,
All right. I'll just talk about the short briefly. It was cute. That's all I can really say about it. Like the stand-ins did a pretty good job at trying to emulate the original actors for this. But yeah, it was cute. But yeah, this is the best of the two movies, definitely. I didn't have a problem with the references in the first movie, and I don't have a problem with them here either. And I think they were done better here, actually. Everyone looks great. And I actually think Knuckles' voice works really well, just because of how beefy they make the character here. It's not quite Sonic Boom style Knuckles, but I don't think it's far off, to be honest. And I do like the characterization. It's one we haven't seen for a while from him. And as Pedro said, he's not stupid either. He's
not stupid, he's naive.
He's doing his best.
Actually, I have a question for you, Shirai, because I forgot, but I think it's appropriate to ask about. Again, did you manage to fully enjoy visibly the movie? Because I counted pretty much since the beginning. There's a lot of photosensitive moments. That I
oh yeah, no, me and Atlas did cover our eyes like at different parts of the movie. Yeah.
Oh, Alice also has the eye thing issue.
She has light sensitivity issues, but she's not visually impaired.
Now, I guess to give Eggman some credit, unlike Vulcan, his lightning doesn't constantly flicker and flash.
It was mostly by actual, the scenes with line, like the stroboscopic stuff during the Russian dance-off, or scenes where they look directly into a source of light, like the sun, for example.
Or the fight with Sonic and Knuckles in Not Labyrinth Zone, where they have the close up on Knuckles for ages, and it's just flashing red. So yeah, no, we did have to look away every so often. I mean, we usually have to look away at least once when we go and see a movie in the cinema, so we just kind of expect that. Really brave of them to just show Shadow up front right at the end there.
It's like, yeah, I love how proud they are. It's like, yep, you're getting Adventure 2 next. Oh.
I'm not going to talk about what I want them to do with that here, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
The Death Egg robot looks freaking cool in this movie.
Yeah.
That was one of the highlights of the movie for me. Just the moment where she says he's building something, me and Alice are just losing it. So yeah. The human stuff I don't mind, actually. I thought it was pretty funny. And as for whether it lasted too long, I feel like it's a mileage may vary thing, because I didn't mind it at all. Though I do think it is valid to point out, as Tio said, that they did kind of put the search stuff on the side for maybe a bit too long, because that was the initial point of the movie, was to do that. So maybe a little bit more of that would have been nice. And it's nice that this is just kind of one weird family right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're gonna adopt a once cryogenically frozen 50-year-old hedgehog, but we'll see.
That'll be interesting to see how that works. God forbid.
Grandfather Shadow, that'll be interesting.
God forbid, we also add a femme fatale bat and a happy-go-lucky pink hedgehog to the family.
Again, I don't want to talk about what I'd like them to do with that movie, but
fair enough.
Yeah,
fair enough.
I'm proud of how brave they were, though, because the first movie had it was a very rocky journey from the announcement till the release of the movie. So it's nice that they seem genuinely proud of the product with this movie.
We've come quite a ways from the dark days of, well, as Disney now calls him, Ugly Sonic, to this. Oh my god!
That's a good movie,
Oh my god, that's actually a good point. In 2022, even Ugly Sonic kind of got his own redemption thanks to, of all things, the Rescue Ranger movie.
Considering originally that role was supposed to be for Jar Jar Binks, so probably Disney dodged a bullet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I have to say about this. Really, really great movie.
All right. Pedro.
Now, this was a lot of fun. Like I said, the fan service is top notch, and honestly, I'll argue when the movie's doing Sonic stuff with the Sonic characters, it's always a lot of fun and really well done. Like I said, for as basic as the story is, it does a good job in providing some nice character development for both Sonic and Knuckles. So cool. And like I said, the humor doesn't always hit, but I will argue most of it hits. And yeah, and like I said, the character interactions between the main trio is basically that thing single-handedly makes it.
What are your opinions of the human material in this?
The human material is okay. Let me put it this way: I enjoy it enough. The woman playing Rachel is a genuinely funny actress, so that does help. Yeah, that being said, not all joke hits, and like Teo said, it is true that they could have trimmed the marriage part. Yeah, it didn't need to go on for as long as it did. I don't mind Tails being knocked out for a while, because they actually do use it as part of Sonic's character development, where he insists on leaving him behind because he doesn't want to risk him getting hurt again. So it does serve a purpose. I don't know, and the special effects are great. Jim Carrey is absolutely perfect, as always. So yeah, really, really well done. As for the short, it's fine. I mean, it's fine for what it is, I guess. Not really much to say. There's not really much going on in here. My hopes again. My hopes for the third movie is again, of course, they're going to do the Sonic Adventure 2 stuff. Definitely looking forward to. Let's hope let's hope they use her classic design.
Oh man, her classic design has been really getting cranked out a lot. In fact, honestly, 2023 has kind of been the year of Amy, given her role in Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog. She's become playable in Origins, she's going to be playable in Frontiers, and now in the latest game, Sonic Superstars. Yes. Which means she's also finally getting her own super form.
What I would do if I were Tyson, I would create I would retain her overall body of classic Amy while implementing modern Amy's clothing. That would be a nice way to mesh the two designs. Yeah, no, I really enjoyed this a lot. Like, again, this is a treat for Sonic fans, and yeah, that works really well. All right, go ahead, Joe. I'll close this out.
What a journey it has been making our way up to this movie and beyond. But this movie helped keep the momentum that the Sonic brand has been having, and it's easy to see why. Okay, whether you're a Sonic fan or not, what this movie does is provide you with good thrills, good laughs, and references that never feel like they stray too far off the mark. No, I legit love this movie. That being said, having reanalyzed it, I can kind of agree that it is a bit of a shame Tails get benched. However, like Pedro, I'm okay with it because it does help out with Sonic's development, and Tails does get to make a great comeback for the grand finale. You know, since Tails being benched gives us way for the Sonic and Knuckles side. Which, yeah, no, the fight scenes in general here have been kicked up a notch from the first film. That's not even to say they were bad back then, but we can do a heck of a lot more. What I heavily appreciate is the way that they managed to balance the classic, you know, like the iconic Sonic characters with the characters original to the film. Like, part of me was wondering, okay, how much are we going to be able to fit Tom and Maddie here? And while they have a reduced role, I still feel like it does balance out. It does seem also like they sort of left themselves a little wiggle room, like, just in case the film series goes beyond the third movie. Like, maybe we'll focus more on Sonic with his friends, since they hint that, hey, if Tom and Maddie aren't around, at least Sonic has Tails and Knuckles by his side. But yeah, really do love this movie. I like the music. I do wish we could have gotten more video game music. I do realize we were probably still at the point where studios were still hesitant on that kind of stuff. We did like I
said before in the I always thought that Henry Jackman, the composer of Wreck-It Ralph and Detective Pikachu, would have been a far better pick for the music of this movie, because this guy knows how to score video game movies.
Question, Jova, because I forgot if I asked already or not. Did the Bayformers movie ever use the touch?
There was a remix made for those, but I don't think it ever actually made it into them. There was a remix of a Transformers theme also made too around the time.
But no, my basic point is that, like I said, if we could have gotten Harry Jackman in here, because he did such a great job with Detective Pikachu's score, it could have been nice to he knows how to implement those video game themes into these movie scores. So
it's funny because this movie even references the Winter Soldier,
which is scored by him. Yep.
But yeah, like, I will say this: there will be blood if Live and Learn is not in the next movie. But I digress. Jim Carrey's energy is brought up and just maximized here. Like, he is so awesome in his role in Eggman Expanded. Idris Elba, a great Knuckles. Colleen, as usual, doing a good job as Tails. And again, I have always appreciated Ben Schwartz's Sonic. It took a bit of time to grow on me, but yeah, no, I do like it. And again, this is a Sonic that works with the idea that he is a hero in the making, before he's the suave and, of course, constantly on top of things Sonic from the games. Which, honestly, I could have seen them doing if the classic games, you know, had more of a voice acting budget, since those were his start.
It's similar to what the Spider-Man Home trilogy did, where by the time we finish the trilogy, he becomes the Spider-Man that we are more commonly know, basically.
I do feel like they're also moving through with that. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if by the third film, assuming they get Carrie back, that they're going to give him a fat suit so that he looks pretty much more one-to-one with Mike Pollock's Eggman. Which does lead me to wonder if the third film will be the end for this film series, and then afterwards they'll do a reboot, probably something more animated and CGI, or if the Mad Lads will actually still continue beyond the third film.
My speculation, Joe, that they might, as a compromise, they might be do a thing where, for different circumstances, Sonic and the others have to retreat to another world, ditching the humans completely. Like, it is technically a goodbye to Tom and the others and a fresh new start without interrupting the series.
I guess the only question is what would be done for Eggman in that regard. Granted, some people have speculated that while Carrie has mentioned his retirement, that Sonic movies might be like, the place where he's like, okay, I'm technically retired, but for you, I'll come back until the series is over.
My expectation for the third movie is that Agent Stone will be taking back the major threat, but the aforementioned Metal Sonic will be activated via a registration that Robotnik had recorded.
That has been something people were speculating. Others also speculated that in place of Eggman, it might be his old grandfather, Gerald, who's the Robotnik that we face off against in the third film as well. Like, in this version, he didn't die by the electric chair. We'll see. But yeah, no, again, I love this movie. It's a testament to what video game movies should strive for. Heck, what adaptations in general of wacky material brought to cinema should strive for. Being faithful, but also being different enough that they do provide a good and fresh experience. And let me tell ya, Sonic 2, the movie, was definitely on the right road, from the cover to the actual execution. And here's to the future. Enough said. So yes, happy birthday, Sonic the Hedgehog. We look forward to what more you have to show for us in Superstars and, well, Frontiers' new story campaign along with Origins Plus. And, again, here's to hopefully keeping it cool and crushing 40.